Tonight, Jason Sanborn presents Major Bowes' Amateur Hour. There have been amateur hours in the theater, and there have been amateurs on the radio. But about a year ago, Major devised a new pattern of radio amateur hour, something that was entirely original and had never been done before. Major Bowes is, therefore, responsible for the present vogue for amateur hours on the air. It is his proud distinction to be the most copied radio personality today. Major Bowes' own original amateur hour, presented tonight, is made possible by your purchases of Jason Sanborn's Dated Coffee, the coffee you know is fresh. These amateurs exhibit their wares. You select the winners by your vote. There are two ways to vote. If you live in the vicinity of New York, you telephone your votes early and often. The number is Murray Hill 8, 9933. I repeat, Murray Hill 8, 9933. In addition, tonight is Chicago night. By special arrangement, Chicago listeners will also vote by calling Franklin 4900. That's Franklin 4900. These Chicago votes will be flashed to us within 5 minutes, and frequent bulletins will be read by Major. For those elsewhere, mailing ballots are supplied free at your grocer's. Or you may, of course, write in on your own stationery. Decide tonight which contestants you wish to vote for and get your official ballot from your grocer tomorrow. Remember, Chicago and vicinity, call Franklin 4900. New York and metropolitan area, call Murray Hill 8, 9933, and call quickly. Major will announce the names of the first two Chicago voters. Also, the names of the first two voters from the New York metropolitan area. The leaders in the voting will be given professional engagements in RKO Metropolitan Theater. So please help these deserving youngsters by voting early and often. I now present Major Bowes.
Thank you, Jimmy, and good evening, friends. This is the proudest moment I've ever known in radio, and I've been at the microphone for more than a decade. And by the same token, I feel a greater responsibility than ever before. Our proceedings, as you'll observe, are informal, without precedent. And you, within sound of my voice, are just as much a part of this show as these youngsters who come to the microphone. The studio's enormous. It seats, I don't know how many, a couple of thousand. And these amateurs, lacking experience, must stand before this great audience and give a performance. It's a task for a seasoned professional, much less a Simon Pure amateur. And so we need your help. We want your votes. Please telephone your choice. Telephone early. Telephone often. You decide the winners, and the winners will receive immediate professional engagement. The studio's crowded with friendly faces. There are millions listening. I'm going to repeat the telephone numbers again. In New York, it's Murray Hill 8, 9933. In Chicago, it's Franklin 4900. In this building, girls are sitting at 200 telephones to take your votes. There should be no line busy. Now, first to the microphone is a four-piece band. The Morris sisters, four little kid sisters. Piano, two saxophones, and a trap drummer. And this drummer is a little girl as big as a minute and as cute can be. Watch her little spindle legs work. And so the wheel begins to spin. All right. Whiteman is leading the applause. Paul Whiteman is applauding harder than anybody. Those are the Morris sisters. Their little orchestra play the 12th Street Rag. Now, we have Percy Wood, Boer War veteran, who yodels. All right, Percy, let's hear the yodel.
Yodeling, 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 yodeling.
Well, we mustn't, we like your applause, but we mustn't applaud too long. That's Percy, the yodeler. He was through the Boer War, and we went through one of his yodels, so it's even Steven. All right. Now, what have we here? The merry-go-round has started. It's a crazy quilt, a grab bag. It's a whirligig, just a wheel of fortune. Around we go, each of us trying for the brass ring. I can promise nothing because I never know what's coming, but it's a lot of fun. The first telephone call from the New York area is Mr. Martin McLean, and the second call from the New York area is Miss Rose Wills. Thank you very much. Now we have Franklin Jensen, baritone. His application states that he's a photographer. Where were you born, Franklin?
I was born in the Virgin Islands, Major.
Which one? St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John, where?
St. Thomas, Major.
You see, we touch every part of the United States in these amateur hours. You study singing?
No. Well, just a little bit to help my voice along. I've always wanted to sing ever since I was a little boy.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you want to see him? A concert singer or stage, radio? What's your ambition?
Concert singer.
Another Roland Hayes and Paul Robeson, Eddie Masters, huh?
Yes.
Well, in that case, you either want to sing The Glory Road or Deep River or Waterboy. They all do. We all know the songs, Paul, they want to sing. What do you want to sing?
Waterboy.
Waterboy, I thought so. All right, come on.
You Jack o' Diamond, you Jack o' Diamond, I knows you from old boys. Yes, I knows you from old. You robbed my pocket, son, robbed my pocket. Yes, robbed my pocket of a silver and gold. What a boy! Where are you hiding? If you don't come, why not tell your mammy? What a boy.
All right, that's Franklin Jensen, baritone. Franklin Jensen, baritone. Your applause is lovely, but if you drag it out too much, we're going to lose one or two numbers in the course of the evening. We have so much. Franklin Jensen, baritone from the Virgin Islands. He sang Waterboy. And remember, Murray Hill 89933, and in Chicago, Franklin 4900. Now, one of the noblest of all professions is that of teaching, and frequently one of the least appreciated. I say this having in mind a born teacher, Clyde Dorr, famous saxophone virtuoso. Saxophone, as you know, is a comparatively young instrument. The great symphonies, the older symphonies, have no parts written for saxophone, but it's an instrument with a human quality and is greatly loved and very effective. Now, Clyde Dorr's hobby is to teach the young idea how to toot, right? So I invited him here to bring some of his pupils, and he's got 3 boys, one 10, and the others are 15 each. That's a total of 40 years amongst the three of them. So we're going to have a saxophone trio. All right, pick some more. All right, that's three boys, Louis Smith, Arthur Pockman, and Maxwell Wexler, the saxophone amateurs. And from Chicago, we have the first bulletin. The first call from Chicago was Jack Heinz. The second call from Chicago was Frank Berry, and they both voted for the Morris sisters. So that's quick work. And thanks, Chicago, very much indeed. Next week is Philadelphia week. You see, New York and vicinity always calls, but each Sunday night a different other city. All over the United States, Sunday by Sunday. Tonight, Chicago, and next week, Philadelphia, and so it goes on till it reaches San Francisco. And that'll be a night that I think I'll get up the microphone myself. But faster and faster swings our little merry-go-round. It's a big show, ladies and gentlemen, only a dime, 10 cents, a tenth part of a dollar. This way, neighbors, step on the inside of the show. It's going on all the time. Good for a pain in the hip, knee, or ankle, side, back, or chest. Thank you, sir, and you thank me. Neighbor, how'd you like the show? Terrible. That's what they all say, good people. Step on the inside and jump aboard. Now, let's see who's next. What's the application? Mary Miller. Application reads Singer from Hamburg. You live in New York, Miss Miller?
Yes,
Mrs.
Mayor.
Miller, I suppose it is.
I suppose.
That's your little baby, is it? That's your baby?
Yes.
Little
I
boy.
brought him along, Mayor, because I have nobody taking care of him. So
I
I
see.
think
Well,
it'll be all right.
I'm sure it'll be all right. But don't look at me. I'm sure it'll be all right. But for a singer to step up to the microphone, the little boy indicates a story. What sort of singing do you do? Tell us about yourself.
Mezzo-soprano. Mezzo-soprano.
Mezzo-soprano.
You know, my husband used to be chief steward, and he traveled all over the country. On account of that, I never get a start, good to go to my career.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, moving around all over the country, of
That's what
course,
it
you
is.
can't, and I suppose your ambition is to sing, but sometimes in our ambitions we forget our real blessings. You'd be the happiest woman in the world if you were a prima donna, wouldn't you?
I would like to sing opera. If anybody would give me a chance,
I know, but how many opera singers would... Think of the opera singers that would give up
I
their
have
opera
been in-
singing if they could have a child like that. Hmm?
I never would miss my child for anything or any money in the world.
Wouldn't give up your child.
I wouldn't give up my child. But, well, my music not either.
Well, maybe you can eat your cake and have it too, huh? What do you want to sing?
I sing, please.
All right, let's have it.
O trivo me in sommerville, Arne sovraten singer her, Op en hvor sparsen snow har fled, Hvor intimately lives with rain, When are mine,
Mrs. Mary Miller with a little boy who wants to be an opera singer. Who knows? The telephone's Murray Hill 89933, and in Chicago it's Franklin 4900. Now about auditions. Those in New York and vicinity should write, address your letter to Mesa Bowes Amateur Hour, care of National Broadcasting Company, RCA Building, New York City, and state your qualifications. People who have unusual instruments are especially welcome. Tell us about yourself, and if your letter seems promising, we'll invite you to an audition. Please don't telephone for auditions. Write. Now, this is the application of Adele Kaplan. The application states at the age of 13, won 2 medals, graduated from the Julia Richmond High School, has taken nursery and kindergarten training and studied music, right?
Yes, Major.
You won 2 medals at the age of 13. Sunday school medals?
Oh,
What kind of
no.
medals?
One was from public school, and the other one was from the Metropolitan League Association.
The what?
Metropolitan League Association.
Metropolitan League Association. Baseball.
No.
Oh, I see. Well, you have the looks. Whether you have a voice or not, we'll soon find out. What do you want to sing?
I carry you in my pocket.
Well, button up your overcoat, then. Come on.
I carry you in my pocket, in a locket of gold. There you remain till the sun grows cold. I take a little look each morning, and I take a little look each night, just to see if you're all right. I have such a tender feeling. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but when I look at you, dear, it's just like a lovely song. So I carry you in my pocket, in a locket of gold. There you remain till
All right. Well, your audience is behaving beautifully, I'll say that. I can't see a grouchy face in this whole hall. That was Adele Kaplan. Now we have the first telephone bulletin. First one that's come in from the New York area. The Morris sisters, Percy Wood, Gloria Berger, Franklin Jensen, and Clyde Dorff pupils. And here is the telephone call. The Morris sisters got 1,243 calls. Percy Wood, the yodeler, got 2. He didn't get a very good start. Matter of fact, the war that went against him. Gloria Berger, 344. Next time she'll be a bigger bouquet, and I'll telephone myself. Franklin Jensen from the Virgin Islands got 111, and the little amateur saxophonist, 47. So you see the calls are coming in now. That takes a little time to get them in motion, and we're very grateful. And as I look over at Paul Whiteman, who's worried about his performance tonight, hasn't faced an audience for so long, feels very much good. Now we got who? There he is. One-man band. Al Francis, the one-man band. You know, in starting these amateur hours, I started a vogue for one-man bands. I'm really proud of it, too, because all the kids are up in the attic digging out old hoop skirts and tin cans and amalgam fillings and pieces of hose and hose pipes and watering cans and making one-man bands out of it. Some are grand and some are terrible, but one thing is certain, they always have a lot of apparatus. This one has a bass drum and cymbals and an old valve trombone. I can't look at him and talk into the microphone at the same time. Paul, you haven't seen one of those for 20 years, I'll bet. Anyway, we'll see what he has to play. All right. Ooh. And I started a vote for one-man band. Say, he's not only tone deaf, he's stone deaf. What do the ancient order of Hibernians do to me? My wild eyes rose. Help, police! That's Al Francis, the one... Say, who started that vote for one-man band? I'd like to find out the man who started it.
Major, may I interrupt for just a moment, please?
All right, Jimmy.
I think that everybody in here and everyone on the air should know that the first two calls from New York City, that from Mr. Martin McLean and the one from Miss Rose Wills, both voted for Major Bowes. That's two votes for the Major. Puts him in a class with a yodeler, I guess. Incidentally, Major, we have...
Jimmy.
Pardon?
That makes three of us.
That's three of us.
All right.
We have several telegrams here that I'd like to read at this time, and I think that it really is due you that they should be read. Here's one from Rosa Poncell. My dear Major, with so many achievements already to your credit, it seemed hardly possible that you could add to your laurels. But now your outstanding success in the radio world makes us say once again, bravo and heartiest congratulations. Stop. May you continue for a long time to watch over the striving amateurs and continue to guide those worthy of it into channels for serious study for a musical career. Signed, Rosa Poncell. And here's one from the governor of the state of New York, dated from Albany, Governor Herbert H. Lehman. It's addressed to Major Edward Bowes, and he says, I am glad to congratulate you on the inauguration of your new radio broadcast and to wish you the success that has characterized all your programs in the past. Signed, Herbert H. Lehman. That's all. Thank you.
Well, I said at the beginning that this is my proudest radio night, and so it is. Now we have who? Al Schuler. Al Schuler, ladies' coat, your application says. What do you do with ladies' coats?
Well, I sell them, Major.
Say, if you had to buy them, it wouldn't be so easy, would it? And you have an ambition to be a radio singer.
Oh, yes, I have, Major.
Have you had any experience in radio singing?
Well, I had a very unusual experience, Major. About a year ago, I answered an advertisement in the paper for some radio talent. But when I did get there, I saw this agent, and he gave me an audition. Well, a few days later, I received a postcard to see him about a sponsor for a program for me. Well, when I did get there, he greeted me at the door, 50 cents, please. Well, I gave him the 50 cents thinking I might have a job.
Didn't think you were worth $1 even, did you?
Well, when I did get in
there...
there...
That's interesting. I must interrupt you because recently the fraudulent radio schools have been springing up, and they work a great injustice. Even for small sums, they get youngsters to come there. No doubt that is your experience. But make it a little briefer. What happened? Did you go on and pay him and take lessons?
Well, I did, and many others did also. Well, here was the beginning of the lesson. You know, he made the 30 or 40 of us stand up in back of his, in front of the seats, you know, and he got up in front of us and said, boys and girls, go this way.
You know, I could have him arrested for giving an impersonation of me. Well, go ahead. What is the second lesson, if any?
Well, I'll tell you, Major, he says, no matter where you go, I don't care if it's in a subway, in an elevator, or outside, anywhere you are, don't be ashamed of the folks. Just go,
Well, maybe I shouldn't call that school a fraud. Maybe that's the standard. I'm not so sure. But anyway, I'm glad it came up because perhaps the people listening will beware of these fraudulent schools. They really do a great deal of damage. Now, in the meantime, after all those lessons, what do you want to sing?
Well, Major, I'd like to sing My Mother's Eye.
Georgie Griswold song, huh?
That's right, Major. I think I can sing it just as well as he can.
Well, you won't get as much. Well, there's one thing I'll promise you. You won't get as much money for singing this either. All right, come on. My Mother's Eye.
One bright and guiding light that taught me wrong from right, I found in my mother's eyes. Those baby tales she told that brought all paved with gold, I found in my mother's eyes. Just like a wandering sparrow, one lonely soul, I'd walk the straight and narrow to reach my goal. God's gift then from above, oh, unreal, unselfish love, I found in my mother's eyes.
All right, Al Schuler, who sells ladies' coats and imitates George Gibbet.
All right, Jimmy. Our operators will be on duty for another half hour, so there's still time for you to telephone your vote. Call Murray Hill 8-9933 in New York or Lafayette 7500 in Boston. Elsewhere throughout the United States and Canada, grocers have free ballots for you to use, or you can vote by letter or postcard sent in care of your own station. Bear in mind the saving you can make by getting Chase & Sanborn's dated coffee in its new, inexpensive dated bag. The coffee is the same superb blend as always, and it reaches you at its best because its freshness is guaranteed by the dating plan. The only difference is the new bag and the lower price it makes possible. We save money by using a bag instead of an expensive can, and we pass the saving on to you. Try this rich, full-flavored coffee. Buy a bag of Chase & Sanborn's dated coffee tomorrow.
And until next Sunday, good evening, friends.